Hi there everybody, today we're going to look at pictograms. Alright, so pictogram is a way of representing data with images essentially. The key thing about a pictogram is obviously depending on the picture will represent a certain value or a certain number, and with that you would need some kind of key to show what that actually means. Alright, so let's have a look. Alright, so pictogram is a graphic displays information using pictures and of course a key, which I've kind of mentioned. Alright, so here we go. So the table shows how many goals each person scored. Complete the pictogram. Okay, so let's have a quick look in terms of what we've got over here. Right, so we've got Claire's got 8 goals, Sally's got 2 goals, Faye got 7 goals, and good old Betty, she's got 14 goals. All right, so you can see from here that Claire has 4 footballs, so clearly footballs represents the number of goals, but she had 8. All right, so it clearly in a minute doesn't represent 1 goal, so it looks like a football represents 2 goals. Okay, so the first thing we probably need to do is get the key correct, so that I understand that basically Claire isn't 4 goals, it represents 2. Okay, so first complete the key. So there we go, 8 represents 2 goals. All right, so that's where we've got that bit from. So you need the first bit of information from the graph and relating that to the table. All right, so now we complete the rest of it. So if Sally scores 2 goals, then we need 1 football here. All right, if Faye scored 7 goals, all right, so what do you expect here? Well, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 full circles, which will give me 6, and half a circle will give me 1 more. All right, so let's write that. So 3.5. All right, so 2, 4, 6, and of course half of 1 there, so it's going to be 7. All right, 14. Well, again, because it all represents 2, then I need 7 footballs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 should just fit. Well, there you go. All right. So that pictogram visually shows how many goals that obviously the girls have kind of scored. I suppose one question I have, is it a good representation? Does it kind of show that Betty scores more goals than everybody else? Yeah, it does. My only concern with this one is that it is a football. A good representation of it being 2 goals, or should it maybe just be a football for 1 goal? I don't know. It's up to interpretation. As long as my key is there, then there's no argument. But without the key, then of course that you would, I suppose you would look, if I got rid of that key there and said, well, how many goals would Claire score? I'm sure you would have said 4. But of course, the key says it's 2 lots of that, so Claire scored 8. All right, so the key is absolutely critical in talking about a pictogram. Okay, so let's put that into context. So let's interpret one. All right, so when we interpret something, you've got to read the key carefully, which I've just kind of mentioned, and then from that identify obviously the numbers that kind of represents. So here we go. You've got someone either buying drinks or selling drinks. I don't really know. You've got tea, coffee, hot chocolate, milkshake, and then of course you've got a pictogram representing however many of those they bought or sold or whatever. Okay, right, so which drink was most popular? Well, that should be relatively straightforward. It's the one we've got the most, so that's going to be coffee. We're not even asked how many, we're just going to go with coffee because most boxes, biggest. How many bought hot chocolate? All right, so how many bought hot chocolate? So now we do. Right, so looking at the key, the big square represents 4 drinks, so that's going to be 4. That's going to be 4, and this looks to me like it's half of it. It looks like half a square. All right, so that means it's going to be half of this. So it's going to be 2. So you've got 4, 8, 9, 10. It's going to be 10 people bought hot chocolate. Okay, so 4 plus 4, and then 2. All right, so 10. How many more people bought a tea than a milkshake? All right, so I need to now look at how many people bought tea and compare it to how many people bought a milkshake. All right, well, people bought a milkshake are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Right, so 20 there. And then milkshake, you've got 4, 8, 12. And this looks like 3 to me, so it's going to be 15. So it'll be 20 take away 15. All right, I'm going to write this down, which is going to give me 5. All right, so there's 5 in between. All right, so again, relatively straightforward. Biggest part of a pictogram is your key and how you kind of draw it. So if you are asked to draw a pictogram, try and think about the shape you choose and try and think about how accurate you need to be, especially if you're going to half it or anything like that. And then just be very, very careful. All right, there is a bunch of questions on maths-school.co.uk for you to practice it if you need to practice. But of course, please feel free to visit the video, and thanks for listening.